Hi everyone, my name is Elis and I'm interested in all of the things, but I really love plants. A few weeks ago, I decided to create my first prop box, and the first plant that I put in my prop box was Tradescantia Zebrina. And it is now time to put those little cuttings in a pot. I honestly should have done it sooner because the roots are growing nuts and it's gonna be a little bit tricky to get the sphagnum moss off of the roots. While I pot up my Tradescantia cuttings, I thought I should talk about some of the plants that I really want. I had promised myself that I wasn't gonna fall for very expensive plants and these hyped up plants and plants that are kind of just expensive because you have made them expensive by wanting them. But there are a handful of them that I am weak for and now I kind of want them. So let's talk about them. Let me know down below in the comments what expensive plants you want, or what expensive plants are your dream plants, or what expensive plants do you have? Are you one of those people with a crazy greenhouse in your home? Sound off in the comments, let me know. So in my prop box, I also have some Scindapus pictus cuttings that are really doing well when it comes to roots. Honestly, I love to propagate this way. It's so easy. You literally just toss in the cuttings and then just let it do its thing. And careful with the roots. As you can see, the Tradescantia has gotten a lot of roots and all of the nodes are starting to make little babies and the older leaves are starting to die off. So we'll just take those off. Tradescantias are not really picky about soil. They're a fairly easy plant, but what I like to do is take really nice organic potting soil mix, add some perlite to it and some bark. The bark will eventually compost, but it is just nice to have really good drainage in there, because when you have good proper drainage, you're never going to overwater your plants. Let's just start with getting those cuttings out of here. The reason why you want to remove as much of the sphagnum moss off without damaging the roots is because the sphagnum moss can retain a lot of moisture. So when the sphagnum moss is stuck to the roots, it is always going to draw in so much moisture, and that's where the moisture is going to be, around the roots, and that's not what we want because that will cause, you guessed it, root rot. Grab them out of here one by one. Gently pull off the old leaves that are gonna die off. Honestly, it's so crazy with the Tradescantia. In just a matter of hours, it was starting to produce roots. We try to be as gentle with the roots as we possibly can so we don't disturb the root system the plant has already created. And it just makes them happier and makes them a lot quicker to establish themselves in the soil. You could bring all of this sphagnum moss into the pot as like a top layer if you prefer. That's fine. Then the roots will just grow down from the sphagnum moss and into the soil. Slide it off. Good if I could just put lube on it and drag them off. All right, so here we got these guys. For my Tradescantia cuttings, I'm gonna put them all together in this 5-inch pot that used to be the pot on my money plant. So the first exotic, expensive plant that I really want is the Philoedendron Pink Princess. I just think it produces like the most perfect shade of pink. I'm generally not a big fan of pink, but that pink color is just really, really pretty. I love philodendrons. I really didn't pay them much attention in the beginning, but then I was gifted my Philodendron Brazil and my Philodendron Silver Sword, and that really got me hooked on them. But as it is with all these expensive, fancy plants, there are apparently a lot of scams out of there. So you have to be really careful not to just buy Philodendron Congo Roja and think it is a Philodendron Pink Princess. Apparently that has been happening somewhat on Instagram. So the Philodendron Pink Princess is man-made. It is a hybrid of two philodendrons. It was cultivated in the 70s, and they basically just mixed together two philodendrons to get those results and create a variegation that is pink, and that's how we got the Philodendron Pink Princess. I'm just gonna lay these on top of here and then kind of poke the roots into place. I really should be using a nice sharp knife to pull off these old leaves, but I'm not. So the next fancy plant that I really want is a variegated Monstera adansonii. Well, Monstera adansonii was yet another plant that I completely dismissed and was not gonna have, like, I really felt like I didn't need it in my home. Like, I really love foliage that is thick and it's lush, and I almost want to be able to tug on the foliage and it doesn't break. But then I've seen some really pretty adansonii which made me want one, so I got one, and then the same day I ended up getting another cutting as a gift, and now I have one in my climbing wall, which it's loving, and then another one up on my floating bookshelf. And I'm usually not losing it over variegated plants so much. I don't know, I kind of really love plants just in their original form, and I've never been one to chase hypes a lot. I just like to do my own thing and chasing hypes. That's why I'm doing YouTube a decade too late. So if you're really patient, there is a chance that you can take a cutting after cutting. I think it's like 1 in 100,000 or so, and you could accidentally produce a variegated Monstera adansonii. So I've mostly laid them on top of here, but I've tried to put some of the roots under the soil because the roots like dark and moist and, well, humid atmosphere. I'm gonna put a little bit of more soil on top, and then I'm gonna water it really well. And with, it's a really fast growing roots, and they will burrow themselves down into the soil very quickly. But yeah, if anyone wants to give me a cutting of a Monstera adansonii variegata, you know where to find me. The third fancy expensive plant that I really want is a variegated Ficus lyrata. Ficus lyrata is my favorite plant. The ultimate lush, big leaves, and the variegated ones look amazing. And the variegation looks a lot like the Ficus elastica tenaki, and it is just absolutely beautiful. Tell me that this isn't beautiful. And now we're gonna apply some eyeshadow on our plant to make it look prettier. JK. Get as much of the soil that I put all over it. Don't think it matters too much, but it just makes it look a little bit nicer to not have those little bits and pieces in there, and also always wondering, is it soil? Is it pest? Now the last fancy plant that I really want, and that's a variegated Musa Aaii. I'm not sure how you say that, but look at that beautiful plant. Isn't that crazy? That variegation is almost computer-like. It's like I made that in Illustrator, and I'm not even sure I would have the creativity to come up with that variegation, but that looks incredible. I swear I thought it was fake when I first saw it, because it is just insane. But good lord, is it pretty. One thing you should always do when you're repotting your plants or potting up cuttings is to water thoroughly. Get it all up in there. This is one of the reasons why we avoid repotting and potting up plants in the wintertime when it's cold, because we don't want the plants to get cold in the soil, because we need to water all the way through. Get it all to mix up there nice and easy. Look at those little babies in there. Tradescantia Zebrina. Zebrina. I never fill up the soil very high. I like to have this little like flood guard because I like to soak my plants when I water them, and this just makes it easier to soak them and allow the water to run through without the water overflowing and pushing all of the soil out with it and ending up in the sink and clogging your sink with perlite. Nice drainage. Put it back with the little babies on the bottom shelf. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel and follow me on my social media where I post updates on how my plants are growing. I will post in my stories and in my feed the process of my Tradescantia growing and lots of other things. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.